Chapter 3: Redemption, Friendship, and Ambition. While Yuan was in the forest, he came across a wild bear running towards him. Without delay, Yuan utilized his aura to enhance his physical capabilities. As the bear aimed its claws towards him, Yuan activated an aura called Resist, which created a protective barrier around his body. As Yuan blocked the bear's attack, he focused his aura on his fist and searched for an opportunity to strike the bear's jaw. He swiftly dodged the bear's movements and delivered a powerful punch to its jaw, causing it to be hurled into a nearby tree. While the bear was still on the ground, Yuan imbued a wooden stick with his aura, turning it into a sharp object, and charged towards the bear. As Yuan was approaching the bear, a cub suddenly emerged from the woods to protect its mother. In an instant, Yuan stopped in his tracks and realized that the mother bear may have thought he intended to harm her offspring. He began to feel remorseful for his actions towards the bear. After the incident, Yuan took it upon himself to care for the baby bear while its mother was recovering. As several days passed, the bear began to trust Yuan and they became close companions. Whenever Yuan went to the forest for his training, the bear would always be by his side, even accompanying him to catch fish, bathe in the river, and engage in other activities. Anna asked Yuan to enroll in basic education where children learn how to read, write, and do elementary mathematics. This request came after several months had passed since Yuan's 5th year in this world. The reason for this request is that in this world, only nobles have access to advanced schooling, unless someone has the potential to enter a proper school. This situation often leads ordinary citizens with potential to end up joining the rebel side. The system in this world is the reason for this issue, and thus, it is not fair to blame these individuals. In school, I encountered an intriguing individual named Adam who possesses the potential to become formidable in the future. However, his strength does not lie in physical combat, but rather in his exceptional strategic abilities. Yuan proposed a plan to Adam, offering him the opportunity to become stronger and change his future. Yuan suggested that once they reach the age of 10, they should attempt the entrance exam to become a ranker. By becoming a ranker, they would have the freedom to attend any school they desire without any financial burden. Yuan noticed a stone left behind by Father Hernando and asked Adam to focus his aura on it. As Adam concentrated, the stone began to emit a glow. Yuan remembered what Father Hernando had taught him about how water changes its color depending on the key type. Water turns yellow for enhancers, red for emitters, white for mind weaver, purple for elemental weaver, and glows or turns black for specialist. When the stone emitted a purple glow, Yuan realized that Adam was an elemental weaver. Additionally, Adam has a talent for elementals, which aligns well with his personality. In the future, he could potentially become a formidable force on the battlefield. Yuan is enthusiastic about befriending him. Adam found the proposal tempting and reasoned with himself that it was a great opportunity. He believed that if they continued to remain as they were, nothing would change for them. Without any hesitation, Adam accepted the offer. Yuan thought to himself that everything was becoming more intriguing, but he acknowledged that they might face one problem: they only had a basic understanding of things. As night fell, while they were eating dinner, Anna mentioned that she had received a letter from Father Hernando informing them that someone would be coming to train Yuan for the ranker exam. That night, Yuan wasted no time in informing Adam about the good news that they would be receiving training from someone for the ranker exam. Yuan added that he had requested the trainer to include Adam in the training as well. As morning arrived, Yuan and Adam began their training. Yuan helped Adam enhance his aura so that the trainer would accept him, and he mentioned that they still had a week left to work on this so that the trainer would have an interest in him as well. After a week had passed, the trainer sent by Father Hernando arrived. She was a very young lady, appearing to be only 4 years older than Yuan and Adam. Because of her young age, Yuan and Adam had doubts about her capabilities. Both Yuan and Adam were shocked to hear the trainer shout out, "I know what you're thinking, brats. I may look young, but my true age is 50 years old. I was able to maintain my youthful appearance through the use of my ki, which I mastered 40 years ago. My apologies for the delayed introduction. My name is Ruby Hellhound, and I will be your trainer for the next few years. I was under the impression that I would be training only one child, so may I ask why there are two of you? Yuan apologized for the confusion and explained that he was originally the only one meant to be trained, but he believed that Adam had the potential to excel as well, which was why he had asked him to join them. Ruby nodded and said, "Okay, show me your aura first, so I can determine if you're worth training. I want to make it clear that I'm not getting paid for this. Hernando asked me to do this as a favor, and I couldn't refuse him because he taught me everything I know. He's my master." Yuan was surprised by this information and realized that if Ruby is 50 years old and her master is Father Hernando, then he must be that old too, even though he looks like he's in his mid-30s. Ruby instructed the two boys to concentrate and focus their auras, advising them to close their eyes while doing so. She emphasized the need to make their auras as thin as possible. As they started to follow her instructions, Ruby emitted her own aura, which was surprisingly calm but strong, like a black hole that seemed to draw them in. She shouted for them to keep their eyes closed and to concentrate solely on their auras. Ruby announced that the assessment had concluded and instructed the two to open their eyes. To their surprise, they found themselves in a new world that resembled a cold desert. Curious about their surroundings, they asked Ruby where they were. In response, Ruby welcomed them to their domain and explained their unique skill of creating a space spanning 3 hectares. Furthermore, Ruby added that in this world, they were free to use their skills without concern for damaging the area. Ruby reassured the two that they need not worry about food, as she had storage capabilities and mentioned that the stock was sufficient for a few years. During the assessment, Ruby was taken aback and exclaimed that the two boys appeared to be ordinary stones. However, she added that with some polishing, they could turn into diamonds, and her excitement was evident as she licked her lips. Ruby informed the two boys that they had passed the test, but their aura manipulation was currently at its lowest. However, she encouraged them to focus on their training, assuring them that if they did so, they would be able to pass the ranker exam with flying colors. Yuan and Adam began their stamina training 2 weeks ago. During this time, Ruby altered the gravity and reduced air density in her realm to make it easier for the boys to adjust when they returned to the real world. Following the 2-week stamina training, Ruby evaluated the aura's quality again and observed that it had improved from the previous assessment. She proceeded to teach Yuan and Adam the 6 basic fundamental principles of aura, emphasizing that it was crucial to master the basics before moving on to the 6 main attributes for aura specialization. After 6 months, both Yuan and Adam had completed the 6 basics of aura manipulation. Ruby suggested that it was time to evaluate their knowledge and skills to determine whether they were ready to proceed to the main part of aura manipulation. Ruby informed Yuan and Adam that they would pass the assessment and proceed with the next training if they could get her to use both of her hands. She also mentioned that there was no time limit for this task, as long as they did not give up. The assessment began, and Adam whispered something to Yuan before they both dashed off in opposite directions. Yuan coated his legs and arms with aura, while Adam focused his aura on the ground. Suddenly, Yuan punched the ground and the sand scattered like shrapnel, crystallizing due to Adam's skill. Once the sand shrapnel had crystallized, Yuan focused his aura through his lungs and let out a loud shout, generating sound waves that forcefully pushed all the shrapnel towards Ruby's location. Ruby smiled and confidently ran towards the shrapnel as if it had no effect on her. She remarked to Yuan that he needed to use more powerful attacks, ones better than what he had just attempted. Ruby then shouted, reminding Yuan that he should focus on observing his enemy to understand their weaknesses and aura, rather than relying solely on his senses. She advised him to use his aura to see through the enemy. As Ruby spoke, Adam employed evasion to conceal his presence, allowing him to focus on his control over his aura and expand it throughout the surrounding area. He then created pillars of mud to impede Ruby's quick movements. Yuan activated his Magic Eye skill, which allowed him to detect any movements within a range of 100 yards. This range was sufficient for his combat style, which primarily involved short-distance combat. Additionally, this skill also gave him a 5-second foresight into the future. Ruby charged towards Yuan, preparing to stomp on him, but Yuan quickly evaded the attack and saw Ruby's movement from behind. He then retreated backward, while Adam swiftly grabbed Ruby's shoulder. Ruby turned towards Adam with a smile and commented, "Nice try, brat," but suddenly someone attacked Adam from behind. During the battle, Ruby lecturing Yuan and Adam, advising them to always use Con to perceive the movements of their enemy's aura. She emphasized that by mastering the basics, they could achieve many things. Ruby then suggested taking a break for the time being and gave them one more chance to prove themselves. She instructed them to rest and reconvene the following morning to discuss the next task. This is the end of Chapter 3. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe.